video number 39 for bass players, and in this video we are going to be bowing on the open D and the open A string through using your book on page 16 and 17. We're going to play number 47 through 51. Okay? If at any point you decide you need to go slower, remember you have the option of using Essential Elements Interactive and changing the tempo. All right? But before we do that, what I would like to do is a little bit of echoing. And guys, remember, bowing, there's again no shortcut to this. You're gonna just have to practice it. It's going to take a while. Remember that if you have a new bow and you didn't get enough rosin on it, that might be part of your problem with getting an airy sound, but most likely it's probably just that you don't have enough weight on the string, okay? So we're gonna use the metronome first. We're gonna do a little bit of echoing. And guys, it's very important that also, while you are bowing this time, I didn't say it in the last video, you need to check your bow hold occasionally and make sure it still looks good. If you've been doing all your bow exercises like you should have been doing on a daily basis, you should be in good shape, okay? But your hand is very likely going to get a bit tired. Take it a break, shake it out, come back, get a good bow hold. Do not do this with a bad bow hold, all right? Okay, so I've got my metronome set at 60. If you find this is too hard for you, too fast, just stop the video, set your own metronome slower than 60. We're gonna start just on the D string. Remember, I'm gonna start way down to where like my first finger is hovering above the D string. That's how far down towards the frog I want. Outside fingers, outside lines, inside fingers, inside lines, thumb is bent, press in halfway. Play 4 open Ds, echo me. D, 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 go. D, 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 again, D. Go, D, 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 D. Now A's, open A. A little bit more weight, a little less bow. Go. A, 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 A. Pressing hard. A little bit more weight on the bow, A, A, A. Now here's a general rule for you. When you're on a skinnier string, you're going to use a faster, lighter bow. When you're on your heavy string, you're going to use a slower, heavier bow. All right? So D and A are not horribly different because they're right next to each other. But still, think about that. If you get an okay sound on your D string but not on your A string, try using less bow but more weight. Okay, now we're gonna do some back and forth stuff. Do 2 Ds, 2 As, press in halfway. And go D, D, A, now reverse. A, D, D, go. A, D, D. Now we're gonna do 3 Ds and 1 A, and this is gonna be more difficult because when you do 3 Ds, look what happens. D, 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 we're going to have to switch strings up at the top half of the bow, okay? Look how little my hand has to move when I'm switching down here. Look how much my bow has to move. So you're going to have to move further, and it's going to be feel a little bit different. You might hit 2 strings here. Again, just practice. 3 Ds, 1 A, echo me. Go. D, 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 A, try it again. Go, D, 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 A, now the reverse. 3 A's, lots of weight. A, D, again. Go, A, D. Okay, so a really good thing to do before you try to do this next part with me, and we're going to play 47, so have your book open to page 16, number 47. You might want to do a little more practicing of just crossing back and forth between your D and your A string. That should be kind of your new thing that you start your day with now. You know, after you've done like your bow exercises and things like that, practice just playing open Ds and open A's and switching back and forth. Okay, we're going to try 47 now. Now notice it's 2 lines long, okay? When you have all those rests, I want you to check your bow hold, check your bow placement, make sure you're right at the end of the fingerboard. Press in halfway. First finger's hard above the D string and press and go. D, 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 D. Now check your bow hold, check your bow placement, and press and go. Press, check your bow hold, fix what you need to fix. 3 Ds. Rest. 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 Okay? Now, you should do that one again. We're going to go ahead and go on to 48, mainly so the video doesn't get too long. So pause the video and do 47 again on your own. Make sure you are not playing during the rest. Make sure your bow is frozen during a rest. Don't let it kind of make noises. If you wiggle around, it's going to make noises. Okay? Now go on to 48. Now we're bowing open A. 48.
48. Bow on the A string.
Make sure you're touching just the A string, end of the fingerboard. First finger above the string. Rest, check your bow hold, and press and go. A. 4 counts of rest, check your bow placement, and 3 A's. Rest. Be frozen during the rest, and freeze. Don't let it move. A. Rest. Rest. Again, take your time, pause the video now, and do what you need to do to get 48 correctly without playing during the rest, all the while keeping a steady tempo. Now look at 49. It's called raise and lower because you are either raising or lowering your arm to change strings. So 49 starts on open A and then goes up to open D. And then there's a repeat sign, so it goes back to A and then back to D. Luckily, you have 4 counts of rest to change strings.
49.
Start on open
Raise
A.
and lower.
Okay, press in halfway. And 4 A's. Rest, rest, rest. Now go to D. Now since we repeat, switch back to A. And press R, go. Back to D, make sure you're only the D string, check your bow hold. Rest. Okay, now what I should also say, I say to start with the, oh my goodness, my phone will not stop. Okay, it just won't stop. I say to start with half pressing in halfway. You might need to use more. Think of it more as far as 10 pounds of weight for the A string, maybe 7 pounds of weight for the D string, 5 pounds of weight for the G string. We haven't gotten the G string yet when we get there. So less weight for each string, okay? But A string might be as hard as you can press in right now. It might not be a halfway situation. It might be pressing as hard as you can. Just depends on how much strength you have, okay? Now we're going to go on to 51. Now in this one, there's no repeat sign, but you only get 2 counts to switch strings. You got to be ready for that, okay? So start with open A, number 50.
50. Teeter-totter.
Press in. 10 pounds of weight. Now switch to the D string. Switch back to the A string. Back to the D string. Okay, now something else, again, you want to play that one again on your own. Something you might notice is that when you play along with the recording, that the A sounds higher than the D. You might remember this from back on number 2 through number 9 in your book, that all the other strings, their open A is actually higher. Bass is different. So the recording has like violins and violas and cellos playing, and that's what you hear. All right. If your A is supposed to sound lower, don't go by what you're hearing and go, oh, high string, low string. No, you know how to read open D, you know how to read open A. Your book is right. The recording is not wrong. It just going to sound different than what the basses are actually doing. Okay, let's go ahead and go on to 51. In this one, you only get 1 count to switch. You got to be ready. You got to be ready. 51.
51.
Starting with
Mirror
open A. Press in halfway or 10 pounds and go. Now switch quick. And switch back to A. Switch quick to D. Okay? So practice those and get those really good before you even attempt the next video, because the next video gets a bit more complicated. But you practice those a lot and you will absolutely be ready for that.